Okay, July 29th, 2011, in the lower orchard, and here's a shot of it from the far east side. Late crop on this Shizuka. Very large apples coming well. That apple's already a good 2 inches in diameter, or a little more. So there's my funny looking Shizuka, 3 trunks. That's my little character tree. Every orchard needs some character. A Honey Crisp, its first set. It's got some apples there in the center trunk, so it's coming well, coming along good. What few apples I get off from it should be spot free. A tree, also a 4-trunked tree, thanks to some overambitious rabbits years ago. Here is the wealthy tree. This is one topped over. This is B5 in previous videos. See, it's bushing out well. The top of the tree is, if I can get it skylined up here, top of the tree is the main growths from last year are branching out. The tree, that's kind of funny, the tree that I actually got the signs from is still about the same size, basically a whip that's growing over there in near the shade of some oak trees. So this one is far surpassing it. We have the grass from this year, not growing too fast. I had some aphid damage on them, which I sprayed them and killed, so you can see the leaves have a little bit of damage. Not growing very fast. I think that's a sweet 16 or a snow sweet. Let's see, sweet 16. Yep. Missing one there. Looks like some bug took it right off. Oh, here we go. These are dead aphids. I don't know if you can see that. Those little black dots. They used to be green dots, which were quite a bit bigger. So when they're black, they're dead. And I sprayed for ants too. Hopefully the ants are gone. That tree should have some apples next year, I'm thinking. Some wealthy apples. Back behind it, the Spy Gold. I said in an earlier video how I propped up limbs. Notice I have some 1-inch sticks here. These are about 6 foot tall. And I took a zip tie right there. Just put it around 2 of them. Zipped it together. And make a forked stick. If you point the ends a little bit on the bottom, stick them into the turf, and it holds real well. So that's very, very sturdy. Strong wind won't blow it over. I have some ropes of apples here. Those are hanging down well. I didn't think those would break. This is the only limb that is susceptible to breaking if it had too many apples, because right here where it's connected to that forked stick, that's where it might break. But there's only 4 apples out here, so it should be fine. I did have a large limb in the back 2 years ago, broke away when I had a forked stick, and I had the forked stick forcing the limb back up like this one, back way up 45-degree angle, and it busted off right there. So I don't try and force the apple limb back up that high anymore. When it bends over horizontal, I just keep it horizontal or lower. So these limbs are all, as long as I keep these apples off the ground, I think I'm okay. There, I propped that one up with a short fork stick. Just these zip ties. And keep them out of the reach of the rabbits. I think I'm okay. I have to back up to see this tree. It's the golden russet. The golden russet, great for cider, great for apple pies, even good for fresh eating, although it's a firm apple when first picked. The shape of that tree, it is changing shape quickly. It's mostly a vertical grower. As you can see, this limb right here is still growing vertical. No apples on it. This limb here used to be straight up too, almost at a good 45-degree angle. So the whole tree is changing shape. I have two limbs here. Looks like this lower limb will be getting taken off, pruned off this year. And the one above it is still in the way of the mower, but I'll mow around it. Plenty of apples for my little girl to pick this year at her height. This tree was hard to pick in previous years because the apples were so far up in the air. And now I have them right here. See the rusting? Even when they're young, that rusting is kind of a potato skin feel to it. And they're not a real big apple, you know, medium size, but or even small, but they're great for pies. I cut these and freeze them in gallon bags. This is the red delicious that was grafted over to Jana Gold. So it's the upper limbs are forking off well of last year's scion. They have about more than 2 foot growth on them. The top one's probably about 30 inches of growth. This was also attacked by the aphids quite a bit, and I think there's still some aphids on there. I don't know if you can see those or not. Look at those leaves. Those little green dots are aphids. So the ants are farming them. They put the aphids on the limb. The aphids multiply quickly. They give off some white secretion or something that the ants eat. So I'll have to spray this. This is on the red delicious limb right now, so I really don't care if they do damage to this limb. And they seem to prefer it, although now I see a couple days ago they didn't have any up here, but now I see them on the tips of the branches. That's where the aphids are, the tips. Now this was a tip a few weeks ago, and it was sprayed, and see those black dots? They're the dead aphids. So they're leaving these limbs away, but the new growth that's come out is preferred for the aphids. So I'll have to spray that again. This is these two are grafts, so I don't want those damaged. Let's check the other grafts here. No, these seem to be aphid free. That one and that one. And it looks like the other tips are aphid free also. So it's this limb. It's the first limb off. So when the ants come up, they take the first limb. That's what it looks like, and they follow it. So I'll have to spray this weekend or soon. Here's my Elliott blueberry. I don't know if that one's ripe yet, but let's try it. A little milder than the Blu-ray. Here's the Jonathan tree. Oh, the golden, Jana Gold is from this direction. Most of my videos show it. So that's what it looks like now. Jana Gold is a cross between Jonathan and Golden Delicious. This is the Jonathan tree, and their growth habit is long-limbed and kind of wispy limbs. That limb there was up at a 45-degree angle earlier in the year. Now it would be bent down to the ground if I hadn't put that forked stick under one limb. So, very spreading tree. I probably won't prune it at all this year and let it thicken up. Behind it is the Honeycrisp. Wow, this thing is, I didn't think it was that loaded, but for such a small tree, and even forked up like that, it's bending over. I don't really like I think this is an M7 rootstock. Boy, they're just too small. I like a bigger tree than this, I think. But it was the first Honeycrisp to come into blossom, or to actually fruit in my orchard, so it's got a place in my heart. That limb is leaning on the lower one. I should fork that up, pick that up. Gonna have, wow. Oh, there we go. That's a heavy limb. That used to be This limb here used to be the central leader, sticking way up in the air. Now it's one of the lowest limbs. So that's forked up there. That tree, little tree, is going to produce probably close to a bushel of apples. There you can see the spreading of the golden russet. That's a pretty easy tree to take care of. If you want to throw something, a tree out, but you don't have to do a lot of spraying or anything else to, and you don't have to, you have to let it grow big, okay, large, but it doesn't take a lot of care, a lot of pruning. Here's the Scarlet Surprise. My central leader, which had most of the apples, is now staked. I don't have it tied to that stake yet, but it's bent over under the weight of the apples. So the central leader is no longer a central leader. These apples are already, they were red when they started. They'll continue red. They're the red fleshed apple. So I have to tie that up today. I don't want that limb to break. It grows very long, slim limbs. So I might put a pole and force that thing back up straight again, if I can find a long enough pole. Looking forward to the fruits this year.